Hello Curious and welcome back. It seems that despite the accident on the set of Rust and the tragedy that ended the life of Halyna Hutchins, Alec Baldwin is back to acting. 2 movies of his participation have been announced and not everyone is happy about that. And it's all because many claim there has not been any justice. And while many are upset about how things had turned out, it would not be the first time that a celebrity was involved in some sort of a crime or an accident where someone ended up seriously injured or had lost their life and had walked away free. Who were the stars that were involved in such accidents, and did they face any consequences? Was there any outcry surrounding it? Did they get back to work? And what do we know about what had been going on with Baldwin and the Rust set tragedy? Stay with us until the very end to find out all the latest news, but before we continue, don't forget to hit the notification and subscription buttons to stay up to date with the hottest celebrity gossip. As you may remember, in October 2021, Alec Baldwin was involved in an accident on the set of the movie Rust in New Mexico, during which a firearm that was believed to have been loaded with blanks had gone off as he was preparing for a scene and ended up injuring director Joel Souza and taking the life of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. Since then, the 30 Rock actor had been named in several lawsuits seeking damages. However, in an arbitration demand that his lawyer had filed recently, he claimed that his contract protects him from financial responsibility for her passing, as well as adding that he is seeking coverage of his legal fees. As reported by New York Times, the document stated that Alec was not responsible for the passing, as he was assured that the weapon did not contain any live ammunition, and because he was not responsible for checking the rounds or being in charge of its safety on set. Though if you want to know more detail what had happened, then be sure to check out our previous video by clicking on the link above. But for now, make sure to stay with us until the very end to find out which other stars had managed to get away after being involved in some horrific accidents. Despite the fact that a lawsuit was filed on behalf of Matthew Hutchins and his son, which besides naming Alec also named Assistant Director David Halls, armourer Hannah Gutierrez-Reed and prop master Sarah Zachary, there had been no results in it and the case is still ongoing. But it seems it had not stopped Baldwin from working. Most recently, Deadline had reported that Alec is set to make his comeback on the big screen in a pair of Italian Christmas productions. As per the publication, the actor and his brother William are both flying to the European country to work on 2 movies, Kid Santa and Billy's Magic World. Both of those movies will see the 2 work with filmmaker Francesco Cinquemani, with whom Alec had previously worked with in 2015 on the sci-fi movie Andron. Though given that many had blamed the actor for what had happened and argued that he should stand trial, many weren't happy with the news that he is back to work, as if nothing had happened, without facing any consequences. However, it is worth pointing out that until an investigation produces some evidence that would place Baldwin as guilty, there is nothing much that can be done, and for the most part, for the time being, he is seen as an innocent man. But he is not the first star that was involved in some sort of an accident that resulted in the passing of someone else and who had not really faced any consequences, so make sure to stay with us until the very end. Of course, when we're talking about accidents with firearms on the set of a movie, we cannot help but mention Brandon Lee. The actor, who was the son of actor Bruce Lee, was working on the set of the movie The Crow when he had lost his life in an accident much similar to Hutchins. Prior to the fatal scene, the weapon that was used as a prop was loaded with incorrectly made dummy rounds that were improvised from live cartridges. However, the crew had failed to remove a part of them, and when one of the shots was fired, a part had separated from the bullet and got lodged in the barrel. When it came to the scene with Lee, the dummy round were replaced with blanks, but the firearm was not checked properly, and so the previously stuck dummy got dislodged and ended up striking Brandon in his abdomen. At first, the cast and crew had thought that everything was going as it should have been in the scene when the actor fell backwards, but after he failed to get up when the director yelled cut, they realised something was wrong. Despite being rushed to the hospital and a 6-hour surgery in an attempt to save his life, Brandon Lee had passed away on March 31st, 1993 at the age of 28. His passing was ruled an accident due to negligence, and despite the fact that his mother Linda Lee Cadwell had filed a lawsuit against the filmmakers alleging negligence, no one was brought to justice and the suit was settled under undisclosed terms. Another incident we'll talk about took place in 2015 and it featured Kaitlyn Jenner, who was driving an SUV which was towing another car. The accident took place in Malibu, where she rear-ended a Lexus, pushing it into oncoming traffic. Kim Howe, the driver of the Lexus, was then hit by a Hummer travelling in the opposite direction. Jenner then proceeded forward and hit another vehicle, and while the driver of the second car had suffered mild injuries, Howe had lost her life on impact. At the time, there was a lot of talk about the incident, with many blaming Jenner, alleging that she was either on her phone or smoking while behind the wheel. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office issued an investigation into the accident and looked into the possibility of vehicular manslaughter. However, much to the dismay of internet users, at the end of the investigation, the DA's office did not proceed with charges due to lack of evidence. While Caitlyn was apologetic for the event, which she called a terrible accident, she also settled with the woman's family, a woman driving the second car, both for an undisclosed amount, as well as the family driving the aforementioned Hummer for a reported sum of $800,000. As many of you will know, Curious, this did not affect the reality TV star, as she went on to have a successful career, which involved running for the governor of California. Though it is worth noting that there had been times when even the most famous stars faced justice and served some time. And if you want to know about which celebrities had ended up behind bars, you can check out our previous video by clicking on the link above. But for now, make sure to stay with us until the very end. But there were also incidents in which people lost their lives that weren't accidents at all, and the story of Snoop Dogg and his bodyguard is one of those stories. It was 1993 when the rapper and the man that was protecting him, McKinley Lee, were both charged with first-degree murder after the latter took the life of a member of a rival gang. The artist initially fled the scene and did not go to trial until 1995, and at the time, the racially diverse jury had discussed whether this was in self-defense. And the fact that the man who passed away that day had a weapon on him, which his friends later hid, also worked in their favor. If it wasn't enough to aid in the case, it also turned out that the LAPD was negligent with handling the case, which led to the destruction of the victim's clothing and weapon fragments from the scene. As a result of all this, both Snoop and Lee walked free and no justice was seen for the passing of the man, and the rapper went on to continue with his successful career. Even everyone's beloved 80s heartthrob Matthew Broderick, known for his role in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, was able to avoid serving time for ending someone's life. Similar to Jenner, Broderick was involved in a car accident in 1987 when on a holiday in Northern Ireland. He had crossed into the wrong lane, which led to a head-on collision with another vehicle, where the driver and their passenger had lost their lives on impact. At the beginning of the case, he was charged with death by dangerous driving, but in the end was convicted of a lesser charge of careless driving and fined only $175. This, the family of the victims had labelled a travesty of justice. When it comes to stars committing a crime, though maybe not as violent as taking someone's life, there had been others who have a long list of misdemeanors, yet it seems their careers have been not affected by them, and their fans had even gone as far as to defend them for what they had done. One celebrity without a doubt is Justin Bieber. He has a lengthy rap sheet of offences that were never paid for, which, according to media reports, includes one in Miami in 2014 when he was caught drag racing under the influence of multiple substances. When his Lamborghini was pulled over, Bieber was not cooperative with police officers and was arrested. He later pleaded guilty to resisting arrest and careless driving, but was released from jail after paying a $2,500 bond. Of course, this outraged many, pointing out that had this been any other person, they would have faced a much more severe punishment or a bigger bond, and would have most likely served time, yet Justin's career never really suffered as a result, and to this day, he has millions of dedicated fans who support his music. Throughout the years, many had pointed out that it is simply infuriating that celebrities can cause such harm or put people in danger and walk away after paying a fine, which at times, compared to their earnings, many claim is just pocket change. But just how do they get away with all this? Well, there are many things to factor in, such as evidence that was presented or lack of. The fact that the stars have the resources many of us don't is one factor, as it gives them access to high-end attorneys. Some noted that their fame also allows them to call in favours or use connections to get out of such crimes. And others had commented that there could be a possibility that they could bribe the judge or jury. However, the latter is a serious accusation for which there is no proof, and so it simply remains gossip and speculation. So what do you think about the celebrities getting off free and then being able to get back to work? Does it anger you? Which of these cases bothered you the most? Can you think of other stars that had committed crimes and walked away without consequences? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Until next time.